Okay, as we pick up today, this is Mr. Hochsprung, and we are talking about who ruled Rome. That is page 311 in our notes section of our packet. If you are looking on the online textbook, again, we are going for chapter 11, lesson 1. If you look towards the end of lesson 1, there's a little section titled Who Ruled Rome. You want to read that section and then listen to me talk about it. Okay. I'm going to assume you paused that and read it. So here we go. We're going to talk about it. So this idea of who ruled Rome. What did the Romans do that allowed them to rule their lands effectively? Well, one of the things they created was something called the Roman Confederation. Now, confederation, that word itself means kind of a grouping of different parties that are going to work together for a certain goal. And Rome knew that as they conquered new lands and took over, the control of other peoples, that they needed those people to work with them. So they devised a couple of strategies that we're going to list below here. One of those strategies was that they built military outposts and roads. Now, a military outpost is like a military base. The military wasn't just hanging out in Rome. It'd be spread out throughout the land. So if they took over a new section of the land surrounding Rome, they would put some of their military there to kind of keep the peace. Now, they would offer protection to the people that lived there. And it would also help with trade. If you have nice roads, it makes it easy for your army to move around. It also makes it very easily for regular people to travel from place to place and sell their products. Now, when the people you take over now have nice roads that are safe and easy to trade on and to walk around on, if they're making more money and they start living better, they're going to be happy living under Roman control. And that was kind of the goal of Rome. If you remember, we talked about some of the other civilizations. When we talked about Mesopotamia, there were times when the Assyrians took over and they weren't very nice and the people didn't like them. And every time you had someone take over and that made the people unhappy, those people always revolted and eventually, formed a rebellion and took over. Rome was working to prevent that. They wanted the people to stay happy. Now, the second thing we're going to write down is probably one of the most important things, is they treated conquered people fairly. Now, this is different from many of these other civilizations, including the Greeks, where we talked about city-states. They'd take over a people, and if you lost, you were captured, you were probably made a slave, which is not a great life. Instead, the Romans took over and said, hey, we're in control now, but we're not going to make you a slave. We're going to actually treat you well. And this inspired loyalty with these people. Now these people who were taken over started to feel, hey, we're a part of Team Rome here. We're a part of this Roman Empire. And when they started benefiting from it, when they were making money and their lives got better, they really, enjoyed this new change. Now, some of the peoples that got taken over were actually made into Roman citizens. So made some peoples Roman citizens. And they allowed some of these people the ability to vote and serve in the government. Now, if you conquer someone and then you make them part of your team and they start working with you, that is a great thing if you want to keep your government running smoothly, because these potential enemies are now your allies, now on your side. Now, they also treated their allies, were treated as friends, of Rome. So if a country wasn't totally taken over by the Romans, they might be considered, hey, you're a friend of Rome. Now, got my I and E messed up here. Let me fix that. If you were an ally of Rome, you paid taxes, which kept Rome happy, but you managed your local affairs. which was a good thing for Rome because they didn't have to worry about taking care of them. And as long as they were doing things that didn't make Rome upset or didn't affect Rome negatively, that's a win-win for them. They get taxes from those lands, and the lands kind of take care of themselves. Now, what did these policies result in? Well, it allowed them to maintain peace. And that caused the Republic to grow stronger. Now, this was important. Remember, we've talked about how war typically weakened a nation. Well, peace kind of has the opposite effect. When peace is happening, your population grows because people aren't dying in fights. Typically, your business grows and your economy gets stronger because people are trading instead of fighting with each other. Now, if you look at this map, it's a little bit hard to see, but here we see Rome right down here, and this whole area, all these shaded areas here, are kind of showing areas that Rome would eventually take over. And they would control all of these lands. And in controlling all of these lands, that gave them a great set of resources that they could draw from. Now that also meant there's a lot of peoples here that could potentially be problems. So by having the Romans use these strategies to rule and bring people into kind of the Roman Empire, it helped them maintain peace and find success and continue growing even further. So this is just at one point in the Roman Empire or the Roman Republic. We will see in later sections and later chapters that this is just the beginning. All right, so this is the last section for this lesson, for lesson 1 in chapter 11. Next time we'll be starting up the next one. So thanks a lot.